This is a special event. It is the Heisman Trophy of defense. It is the award that gives back to a side of the ball that doesn't get as much glory. Thank you, Charlotte.
What a high level of excellence Bronco Nagurski brought to the game. He's an inspiration to anyone who loves the game of football.
My football story is not about playing for the Carolina Panthers. My football story is from the time I was 5 years old, all I ever wanted to do was play for Wayne Hills High School in northern New Jersey.
I was a part of something, and the purpose of what we were working for was greater than any one of us.
We come out every day to compete, and the only way we can get better is to be, compete against each other hard.
It's important to note that sometimes the signs that we ask for are right there in front of us. Win or lose, there was always a message in there. It's about what we do with the adversity we face.
You can have a dream, but you better be prepared for that opportunity.
It's a lot of hard work. I mean, it's nothing is given. I mean, you have to earn everything.
Honored to be here today. You do such wonderful work. The funds you raise for scholarships around the area, that's wonderful.
A very heartfelt thank you to members of the Touchdown Club for your support of 16,000 plus students who you all are impacting annually. Studies show that GPAs and graduation rates are higher, absences and dropout rates are lower.
What I've learned in my life is you can accomplish anything in this world. If you want to do something bad enough, you'll find a way.
But it's important that everybody in this room and beyond understands that it starts with us. You see these kids on the come up, you gotta let them know.
Football was a gladiator sport. Only gladiators played football.
Tonight, you are going to get a glimpse of excellence of our finalists and what they have brought to this game. Their dedication, passion, and brute strength, along with their ability to make key plays during crucial moments in big games.
Growing up around the game, I have a deep and abiding respect for those who have paved the way. Bronco Nagurski was a true pioneer of our game.
February the 14th, 1960, Valentine's Day, 1960, and in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, a little boy was born named James Edward Kelly. 4 days later, February the 18th, 1960, in Omaha, Nebraska, Mark Richt was born. And Mark Richt has been backing up Jim Kelly ever since, including as his backup quarterback at the University of Miami. To introduce our guest speaker today, please give a warm round of applause to the fantastic head football coach at the University of Georgia, Coach Mark Richt.
Thank you. Thank you. It's great to be here. I was here a little while back for the Nagurski Award. I had a chance to speak at that. Just an awesome event. I was also here, I think, for Thomas Davis's wedding. I think his wedding was here in this building as well. So really great memories here, no doubt. The bad thing was one of the screens over there a little while ago, I couldn't help but look at it. My table where I was sitting, I was facing it, and I saw that Jim Kelly classic throwing motion, and that's what kind of ended my college career. I was getting the heebie-jeebies. You know, I was thinking last night about what I was going to say about Jim, but I got so many stories on him. But he speaks after I do, so I decided not to say a few of those. But, you know, Jim and I have known each other a long time. We were freshmen together at the University of Miami. Both came in together under a Coach Saban. It was not Nick Saban. It was Lou Saban. And then a year later, Coach Schnellenberger came in and put the pro-style offense in, and then that was the end of me. My mom and myself still believe I was better than Jim. And I actually, when I was at Miami, I backed up Jim. I had a tryout with the Broncos. I backed up John Elway, and then I went to the Dolphins and backed up Dan Marino. And I was actually the fourth best quarterback in the world at the time, but I just never got a chance to play. But Jim, you know, people talk about how tough Jim is, and he is. He's one tough guy. I know if you read a little bit about him out of high school, Penn State wanted him, but they wanted him to play linebacker. That's how tough of a guy he was, and he played quarterback that way. And every time he got a chance to play, especially on national TV, back in the day, you remember the back of the day of the Chevrolet Player of the Game? Well, you'd only have like one game a week. He was like, and I think Jim played in 3 of them, only played in 3, and he was the player of the game in every one of them. The rest of the games he stunk, but when he was on national TV, he did so good that the NFL thought he'd be a first-round draft pick. But just enjoyed my relationship with Jim and still do. My son John is actually up in Buffalo now working for the Bills, and I know it's nice to have my family near Jim and his. And I know he's been through a lot of things, a lot of great, unbelievable things, all-pro, quarterback, National Football League Hall of Fame, 4 Super Bowls, all kind of awesome things. And he's also been through some tough things with his son Hunter and what happened with him. But I know that Hunter was such a blessing to Jill and Jim and their family. But he's been through a lot. Obviously, it's been well documented, the cancer that he's been through and how he's been fighting through that. And that he's, I don't know if he's cancer-free or not, but that's what I read, Jim. So that's the great news. But, as tough as Jim is and as tough as people can be, sometimes there's things in life that can overwhelm you. And as smart as sometimes we think we are, our wisdom gives out too. But the thing that I'm most excited for Jim about is the fact that not too long ago he accepted Christ as his Lord and Savior. And he's got his relationship right with God, and I'm just excited about that for you too, Jim. God bless. And with that, I'm not going to say much more. I know that Jim's going to get a chance to say a few things. And again, it's an honor to be here and spend some time with Jim beforehand and to be here with you guys today. So with that, if you would please direct your attention to the screen and watch this video before Jim comes up. Thank you, and God bless.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome legend, tough guy, and Hall of Famer, the incomparable Jim Kelly.
Nice to meet you. So good to see you. Come on over here. Thank you. Thank you. All right, sit down. You stretched your legs, now you feel better?
Let me start, Mr. Kelly, with just a basic question that I think is on everybody's minds. How are you right now?
Well, first things first, I'm sorry. I get my spray bottle, and just so it's not because I have bad breath, okay? I still have no saliva left. So now I'm ready to go. I feel pretty good. I was just, well, probably 2-3 weeks ago, they gave me the great news that I'm cancer-free, which Mark already talked about. As we all know, and I know there's a lot of people here that have been through it and know people with cancer, you go through a period where you have to have MRIs every quarter, every 3 months. And I still am on my halfway through my first year. And just keep my fingers crossed, continue to say my prayers, and get prayers from everybody out there that will continue. But right now I feel pretty good.
Fantastic. We're talking a little bit about your birth date of Valentine's Day, 1960. What kind of household did you grow up in, Jim? How were you parented? And then how did your family influence your upbringing?
It's pretty interesting because my father was raised in an orphanage ever since he was a baby. He did not know his parents. So throughout his young adult life, he was in an orphanage until he joined the Navy. And he was in the Navy a few years, and then when he got out of the Navy, he met this beautiful woman, my mother, and they decided to start a family. Now, I was raised, we're Irish Catholic, and my parents, like a lot back in the day, wanted a big family, so they started out with a son named Pat, then a son named Ed, and then a son named Ray. And of course, my dad, he had his 3 boys, he was done. And my mother, being a stubborn, feisty Irish woman, said, there's no way, we're getting a girl. So she talked my dad into giving her one more shot for a girl, and they had me as the 4th son. And of course, Dad, 4 boys, we're done. And Mom, of course, she's not giving up. She wants a girl. So they gave her one more try, and they had twin boys. So as far as growing up, you know, being raised with our family and being in athletics, my dad reading books on how to, you know, coach his kids, always wanted us to be into sports. And he knew by us playing all the sports that we would stay out of trouble, which was probably a smart thing. And so we, being brought up in Pennsylvania, in the Pittsburgh area, growing up a Steeler fan, we all were Steeler players in the backyard, and we used to play football not only in the backyard, but we played it in the house, which drove my mother nuts. But we all wanted to be good enough to take care of 2 people we loved, and that's my mom and my dad. And I knew how my dad was. He pushed us, and he was one of the ones that used to always say, just like nowadays, that if I have to continue to tell you to get out there and practice, you're never going to amount to anything. He said, you got to get out there and do it on your own. So we did as youngsters, and I remember as a little boy, I wore number 12. I was dropping back. I was Terry Bradshaw. I was throwing touchdown passes to Lynn Swan and John Stallworth. And when I played defense, I was either Jack Ham, Jack Lambert, or Dick Butkus. I mean, those were my guys. But I always wanted to play defense when my little brothers were playing offense, because I used to love to hit them. Because when we got in fights as a little kid, my dad would break us up. And my dad was a Gold Glove boxer, so my dad always would take us to the garage, put football helmets on us with the boxing gloves, and we'd duke it out. But I always had to fight my 2 little brothers at the same time. So that was fun to a certain point, but the older we got, it started turning into a disadvantage. But if you can really think about this, boxing gloves, after hitting the helmet a few times, all the foam starts coming out of them, all the cotton, all that stuff. Well, those white athletic taper run boxing gloves after a while becomes from 12-ounce gloves to 16 to 18 to 20. All of a sudden that starts hurting. But that's how we were brought up, to fight, continue to work out and want to be everything we always wanted to be. And as I grew up and went through high school, my dream, like a lot of young kids, is to play professional sports. And mine was football. I played basketball, football, and baseball, but I wanted to play football. And thank the good Lord that, you know, through high school, that was my dream, and my dream was still to make it to the NFL.
Jim, were you highly recruited as a high school football player, and then how did you wind up from Pennsylvania going all the way down to South Florida to Miami?
I've taken a few chances in my life, not always what my mom and dad wanted, but they always used to say to me, you know, it's where you're going to be spending your time, so go where you want. But I grew up always wanting to play for Penn State. I went to Penn State football camp my junior and senior year. I always wanted to be a Nittany Lion. I never was a Pitt guy. I always wanted to play at Penn State, and of course for me, that was the ultimate. And I thought I was good enough to show Coach Paterno that, you know, I'm a quarterback. But unfortunately, he came to me and he said, he called me and said that we've already signed 2 All-State quarterbacks, and we're not offering you a scholarship as a quarterback, but we'll give you one as a linebacker. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. I mean, I played linebacker in high school, and I was recruited to play linebacker by some schools, mostly small schools, but I wanted to play quarterback, and I wasn't sure what to do. So I called my oldest brother, Pat, which we as brothers always looked up to our oldest brother. And I said, Pat, I just want to let you know Coach Paterno called, and he said he didn't want me as a quarterback, he wanted me as a linebacker. Now, my brother Pat was a linebacker at the University of Richmond, was drafted by the Baltimore Colts as a linebacker, and wound up playing a lot of years in the World Football League back in the day, so I always respected his opinion. So he says, Jim, I have a few words of advice for you. He said, before you board those chartered flights that you go on, he said the flight attendants never want to know who the linebackers are. They always want to know which one's the quarterback. I go, that's all I need to hear, bro. I'm a quarterback. So that's how I got really into being, you know, a quarterback. And then I went to make a long story short, because I know we only have so much time, but this was pretty interesting because I wanted to play for Penn State, but I wound up going to the University of Miami. And as Mark told us, we both came in. Lou Saban, our coach, told us that they were going to be a pro-style offense. Well, Mark and I both went to that school because we thought he was going to have the pro-style offense. But unfortunately, he had a running back by the name of Otis Anderson. And they ran the veer offense. Well, I found myself 5th string. I don't know what, Mark, what you were, 4th, 5th, 6th string. I don't even know, but trust me, neither one of us ran the option. And then after Lou left after the first year, Howard Schnellenberger came in. And now this is my redshirt freshman year, and we're battling out. And the quarterback ahead of Mark and I was a quarterback by the name of Mike Roderick. And we both thought we were better than Mike, even though Mike's a good friend even to today. You as a quarterback always, in your mind, vision yourself being better than the next guy, just like Mark thought he was better than me. So now, all of a sudden, I'm 2nd string. I think Mark was 3rd, but we would go back and forth at practice. Coach would let him have some reps. I would take some reps, but Mike was still the quarterback. So now, I don't even know what our record was, 3-5, something like that. Now we're traveling to Penn State, my redshirt freshman year. Now I'm going to Penn State to my mom and dad, my friends would come, but to get the cookies, the chocolate chip cookies to take back. The white socks, remember guys, with the yellow ring around, the blue ring around the white socks that you always loved? Well, that's what I was looking forward to. Nowadays, it's a little different, but I went there for that reason. Not, you know, back up, I might get a chance to play, whatever. So after pregame meal, Coach Schnellenberger comes to me, and he said, Jim, I need to speak with you. And automatically, I'm thinking, oh, no, what did I do? I'm thinking, okay, last night, no, I was good. Last week, did I do anything wrong? I'm starting to think all these negative things, why he wanted to talk to me. So he pulls me to the side, and he says, I just want to let you know that we're starting you today at quarterback. I go, what? He said, yeah, we're starting you. We feel that you deserve the opportunity to show us that you can play. And first thing I did, after I said, thanks, Coach, and I went to the bathroom and I puked my guts out for like 20 minutes. I was throwing up. I was sick as a dog. We wind up beating Penn State that day, 26-10. And as Mark was saying, ABC player of the game. The following week, we're playing against the Alabama Crimson Tide, Bear Bryant. They're undefeated. Now it's the second week. They changed the game of the week to that game. Now Keith Jackson gets on, I think it was Keith Jackson, says, freshman sensation Jim Kelly taking on the undefeated Alabama Crimson Tide in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Now, just to go back a little, I came from a little small town, 800 people, no traffic lights, 27 players on my football team, 60 in my graduating class, and thinking all these great dreams you have come true. So we go to Alabama. I was 3 for 15, 3 interceptions, and I got knocked out cold in the third quarter. Now I'm thinking Mark Richter's going to have his chance to come into play now. But my first 4 starts as a redshirt freshman quarterback were against Penn State, Alabama, Notre Dame, and Florida. And I came from a little small town. So welcome to big-time NCAA football. But that was one thing where I knew that if Mark would have got the opportunity before me, I might be a college coach today. He might be a Hall of Famer, because I'll tell you what, that boy could play some football. And I always knew that I had to be on my game every time I got the opportunity, because if I didn't, he was going to take my job. But now he's one of the greatest college coaches in football. And Mark, I wanted to say that because I love you, man. I look up to you. You've been an influence in my spiritual life, and that means so much to me. That means probably more to me than words could ever, describe right here, because now the guy I look up to was my backup in Buffalo, Frank Reich. So you two guys I definitely look up to. So
fantastic. Jim, we just had the NFL draft. Take us back to that time in your life for you. What was your draft process like?
Oh, boy. It's a little different than nowadays with the NFL draft. I was just here for the first time, to be honest with you, 2 weeks, week and a half ago. But again, to fast forward through this, my senior year in college, I blew my right arm out, and they told me I would never play again. And that's when Mark finally got his opportunity to play my senior year. I had 3 metal rods inserted in my right arm. They'd say, you know what, the doctor said, I hope you study, because you may never get your range of motion back. And now I thought all my dreams, everything I worked for so hard in my life, gone. But one thing I did was, I was at Kelly. My dad reminded me of that so many times, that you're a fighter. And my brothers, I had a couple brothers moved down to University of Miami. They were there with me. They helped me rehab my shoulder. And the whole time, what I thought about was mom and dad. How much we as 6 boys put my mother through. I know she's a saint looking down on me, but what I wanted to do for my father, and have my brothers, the 5 brothers that never were jealous 1 minute, I wanted to make it for them. Not so much for myself, but for my family. And now to fast forward to the draft. It wasn't like they have nowadays, where the big hoopla, they invite the top players in New York City. For me, I was sitting at my agent's house, and I'm sitting on a big, fat, juicy recliner. My dad was on the left arm of the recliner. My mother was on the right arm of the recliner. And now it's the draft. And that's the year that John Elway decided he did not want to play for the Baltimore Colts. So, of course, the first pick, and I'm sitting there, we're watching this TV, a little small one. And first pick, John Elway, all excited and everything. Now, you have to remember, I went to the University of Miami, Florida. So like the 6th or 7th pick, my agent turns to me and said, Jim, is there any teams you don't want to play for? I go, oh yeah. I don't want to play for the Green Bay Packers. I don't want to play for the Minnesota Vikings. And I sure the hell don't want to play for the Buffalo Bills. So here it is now, the 12th pick in the first round. I say, please, Lord, don't pick me, don't pick me. And Pete Rozelle gets up to the podium. He says, the Buffalo Bills select, with the 12th pick in the first round, tight end from Notre Dame, Tony Hunter. I go, yeah! When I jumped up, I hit my mother. I knocked her onto the ground. I went over and go, I'm sorry, Mom, did I hit you? I said, but I'm not going to Buffalo. My agent said, relax. They also have the 14th pick. Needless to say, Pete Rozelle gets up. He said the Buffalo Bills select with the 14th pick in the first round, quarterback from the University of Miami, Jim Kelly. I cried. I didn't literally cry, but I had tears flowing inside. And then, of course, 5 minutes later, and I just saw this like a couple weeks ago, my words that I said how excited I was to go to Buffalo and I'm going to turn the thing around. I lied that whole time. I didn't want to play in Buffalo, and I didn't. I went to the USFL. I played there for 2 years, and then, to be honest with you, one of the best decisions I ever made in my life was becoming a Buffalo Bill. I am so proud to say I was a Buffalo Bill.
Fantastic. Awesome. One last thing about your family, Jim. What changes did you see in your dad and in your relationship with your dad when you finally made it in professional football?
Well, my dad, I think, as I stated earlier when I first started up here about my father and doing things that he really didn't want me to do, meaning he wanted me to stay close to home. We grew up in a blue-collar family, didn't have hardly any money, and a lot of kids, as you see nowadays, same way. My dad wouldn't be able to go to, the games. I went to the University of Miami, and he was bummed out that I did that because him and Mom would never be able to see me play, but they got to a couple games. And then when I went from there, instead of signing with the Buffalo Bills, which is only a 3-hour drive, I went to Houston, Texas. Another thing that my dad didn't want me to do, but I did anyways. And then, of course, going to Buffalo. But when I signed with the Bills, that was probably the greatest moment of my life because my dad, we all talk about role models and people that we look up to. Yeah, I had my heroes. I looked up to Terry Bradshaw on the field, Joe Namath off the field, still today. Well, not the same way, but my role model, to be honest with you, was my father. My dad was a guy that always stressed work ethic, and we saw what he went through, but we all wanted to be good enough to be able to take care of Dad. And just the words of wisdom, he always said that when you walk out of this household, remember you represent Mom and Dad and your 5 brothers. You represent the Kelly name. Don't tarnish it. And we always took that to heart, that we wanted to make Mom and Dad proud. We always wanted to do it for them, but we always wanted to know that the Kelly name will continue to live on like we have. And you as kids, you do make mistakes in your life, but I was very blessed that I surrounded myself with good quality people, but it all started at home with my dad. And we talked, and I don't even know if this is one of your questions, but to fast forward through this one, I've been blessed. A lot of quarterbacks nowadays go through a lot of coaches. My high school football coach, a mentor, a guy that I looked up to, Terry Henry, really set me straight once I left high school to prepare me for college. And then when I got to the University of Miami, I had Howard Schnellenberger, which was a blessing. For me it was, sorry, Mark. And then when I went to the USFL, I had a great USFL head coach, which I'm not going to tell you his name, and I don't know how many people might remember, and then I went to Buffalo, had Marv Levy. So I only really went through 4 coaches in my career, where some people go through 4 coaches in 5-year span. I was blessed to have the same guy, the same leader, as far as where I went from high school to college to the NFL to professional sports. Now the biggest leader for me, well, one of the biggest leaders, not only good Lord, but my wife. My wife has been a big leader in our family, but I've been blessed the whole way around, even starting at a young age with my father.
A huge part of your legacy, Jim, will be your son, Hunter, who unfortunately had the rare kind of leukodystrophy known as Krabs disease. How was he diagnosed, and then how did you and your wife, Jill, deal with his sickness differently, if at all?
Well, we definitely dealt with it differently, and I know that I've even seen a couple of gentlemen and ladies that have been diagnosed with cancer, and I know we all go through things in our life, and we definitely went in different directions early on. I retired from the NFL on January 31st, 1997. My last year was in 96. At the time, me and my wife Jill were very blessed. We had a girl by the name of Erin. And of course, me being a boy, I wanted that son. And I remember the day when my wife's water broke. I was so excited because it was my birthday. It was Valentine's Day. And, we went to the hospital and we went through the Lamaze classes with our daughter Erin, so I already knew what to expect and everything. My wife's pushing. I'm like, come on, Jill, push it. It's not that tough. Come on, girl. Ladies, I'm totally kidding you. I like to mess with the women because I know sometimes you get to have that, little laughter from them saying, I'm going to kill that guy. But as I laid there, first thing I did when the baby came out, first thing I did was I looked right between the legs. I'm like, yeah, it's a boy. And for me, the script was already written. The game plan was done. My brother Danny had a son born 11 days before Hunter was, so I automatically thought Hunter would wear number 12, Zach would wear number 83, quarterback, 83, Andre Reed, of course. And then when they played baseball, when one would pitch, the other one would catch, and when the other one would pitch, the other one would catch. And then go fishing and hunting and all the things that I love to do, I already dreamt about doing with my son. And all of the great things that fathers and sons do, and how my father brought up his 6 boys. And again, to fast forward, 4 months into my son's life, he was diagnosed with a fatal genetic disease called Krabbe leukodystrophy. And what that is, it affects the white matter in your brain. Pretty much everything we take for granted every day, the movement of your arms, your legs, your hearing, your sight, your swallowing. These children do not have any of those motor skills. The average life is only 14 months. We were pretty much told to take our son home, make him comfortable, and wait for the day he passes. For a year and a half, my wife and I would wake up every day, and we'd think, is this the day? We decided to quit treating our son like he was dying, treat him like he was living, do the things you would do anyways. So we took him snowmobiling, we took him riding on horses, we did things, even though he had no motor skills and couldn't communicate the way we do, we wanted to make his life better. We liked that, and we were able to do that. But again, at the beginning, my wife's, the way we handled things were totally different. My wife, when my son was diagnosed, she sought the Lord. I did the opposite. I ran from the Lord. I was mad. I was bitter. I was mad that why did I have to have a son born on my birthday and have a boy have to suffer the way my son did? It took me a while to understand when my wife talked about these things, how we could make a difference, and how many people came up to me and said, you're a chosen father with a special little boy because you can make a difference. I didn't want to hear that. I didn't want people. I was so mad when people told me that, but now I understand what they mean. Not only what I go through now, but what my son went through. And as we went on, the day my son passed away was probably when we and my wife hit rock bottom, because I thought, and I'm not going to get into the details on the day my son died because I probably wouldn't be able to get through it, but it's when I hit rock bottom, because to make a long story short, I wind up hearing the last thing out of my wife's mouth was, because my son was at my in-laws' house because they had a swimming pool and he loved the pool, was take him to Children's Hospital. That's the last thing I heard. So my wife said, Jim, wait till our neighbors get here, because we were blessed to have another girl by the name of Cameron. So she said, you stay with the girls. I'm going to the hospital. So until the neighbors came. So the neighbor came. My wife was already gone. So when neighbors got there, I zipped to Children's Hospital. Got to Children's Hospital, went into the emergency room. No wife, no son, nobody. I'm like, where's my son Hunter? And the lady says, I don't know what you're talking about, Mr. Kelly. I go, my son's supposed to be here. Again, to fast forward, he was at another hospital, 45 minutes away. So I jumped in my truck, and I'm zipping through these back roads, and I'm going through, and all of a sudden I get behind a guy, and he was moving pretty good too, and all of a sudden a police officer drove by in his car, and I looked in the side mirror like we mostly do when we're not, driving a little fast. He turns around, and I'm thinking, okay, he's turning around because he's going to pull the guy over in front of me. Cool. Not cool, but so he gets right behind me, and now he puts a siren on. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. He's pulling me over. I pull over, and he comes up to the door, and he says, thank God, Mr. Kelly, we've been hunting for you. Follow me. Now I get the red light to the hospital. So I'm following back through these roads. We get up, and I see guys stand outside the hospital, Warsaw Hospital. It's a little small hospital by my in-laws' house. I pull up, and they said, no, we'll park your car for you. And I said, no, that's all right. I'll park. And they go, no, you need to get in there now. So I let them park my car, and I went in. And as I went through the doors, I was greeted by a couple of doctors, and they said, we're sorry. Your son is gone. That time in my life was when I really, really hit bottom. My wife sought the Lord even more. I ran. I was so mad, because why did I go to the wrong hospital? I didn't even get a chance to say bye to my son. But as time went on, I totally understand why the good Lord put me where I'm at now. With all the suffering, with all the things I've been through, because I can be an influence. Through my little buddy Hunter, who is up in heaven now, through him we've already changed the lives of so many kids. But Sometimes you have to go through tough times in order to get to the top. But I do know one thing. I will see my son again.
You doing okay? One or two more questions?
I'm sorry?
You doing okay? One or two more
Yes, sir,
questions,
I'm
and then
fine,
we'll
yep.
wrap it up. What are the words Kelly Tough, and what does that mean to you, to your daughters, and to your family?
Kelly Tough is overrated. I always, you try to be tough. You try to be tough for people around you. You try to be, that's how I was brought up. That's what my father always told us, get up, you'll be fine. And how I brought my daughter into also to fast forward to my daughter just wrote a book called Kelly Tough. As a matter of fact, we're on the Today Show. We're on Fox and Friends. We're on all the shows, May 18th and 19th, so check it out. And but how growing up, my dad, how he was with all of us, be tough. When you're down, you get back up and don't feel sorry for yourself. Just fight through everything. And we did. And with my daughters, even though I do not have a son now, well, I do, but he's in heaven. I always brought my daughters up and said, you give a firm handshake. You look the man or the woman in the eye, and I don't care if you're a girl or boy, you will always, give that firm handshake, because the first lines of respect that I tell young men and women are a handshake. Really think about it. When you shake a young boy's hand, you give him that, they give you a little soft hand. I never shake that. I don't care if his kid's 7 or 8 years old. I give him a firm handshake, and he knows when he leaves that from now on he better give a firm handshake. Well, that's how I was with my daughter. When she played basketball, I always taught her, get out there, play tough. If somebody pushes you around, push them back. That's on the basketball court. Not off the court, she's a lady, but they're always gonna be tough Kelly girls. Well, my daughter, she was the older sister of a little boy named Hunter. How she had to be tough around him, how she saw how tough he was, and how I brought her up to be a tough Kelly girl. And now she thought she was gonna lose the two men of her life. She thought she was going to lose her father too, and how she had to be so tough, and how her faith got her through that, and how our upbringing got her through this Kelly Tough. But to end on this one, on the part about Kelly Tough, people, and even the last hour that I was here earlier, how many people said to me that I've been an inspiration for them. I want people to understand how much they and you have been an inspiration to me, how much what your words mean to me, how that continues to make me fight to make a difference in other people. And as I laid in a room about a month ago, as I listened to people, the cards, the prayer cards, and the people praying for me, and how, the Kelly Tough, they implemented it into their plan, and how it's inspired me to keep fighting. I laid in a room and I took it all in. And I came up with a phrase, make a difference today for someone who's fighting for tomorrow. And every person, my daughters, my wife, my brothers, my friends, every time they walked into my hospital room, they walked in with an attitude that they're gonna make my day better. They never walked in one time with a frown on their face. They walked in because they didn't know if I was gonna be around the next couple of days, but they're gonna make me feel special that day. So everybody in this room, it doesn't matter if the person has cancer or whether somebody's sick, walk into a hospital room, walk into somebody that's sick, make their day better. Make a difference today for someone who is fighting tomorrow, because you don't understand what that means to the person. And I talked to a couple people in this room today that those words mean so much. Those prayers, how much that means to us. How that will continue to make us fight every day and not give up, because we all go through things in our life that you wish we could change, that didn't go quite the way we wanted, but it's what you do about it. It's never feeling sorry for yourself. How can I make somebody else's day better by what I do today? How you can make somebody in your household better. How can you make your life better? How you can wake up the next day feeling good that you were able to change somebody's life. Young kids today, they need that. Coaches, I know there's coaches in the room. Being able to say something to them. Being a leader is leading by example. And you have to take that to heart, because nowadays I feel sorry for my kids and my grandchildren. with social media and everything that's going on today in life, God bless them, because you can't screw up. Because if you screw up, everybody's going to know it. As we're all finding out in the last couple of days of the reporting, I think we all know what we're talking about. But things happen in life. But it's what you do about it's what counts.
That's a perfect place to end it. I know you want to give some footballs away. We'll do that in a second. But your legacy is secure, but keep growing it. And thanks for visiting us in Charlotte, Jim.
And I get, real quick, we're going to do this real fast, but I have a few trivia questions. And thanks to Mark Richt, I had to scratch 2 of them off because he answered them. But what I do is I like to throw out a couple footballs, but I do a trivia. And how I do it is I will ask a question. The first person's hand that I see to answer the question, I will pick. That person will stand up. He or she will answer the question. If you get it right, you have the opportunity to get the football. But if you get it wrong, you sit your butt back down in your chair and you pay $100 to the charity for local schools. Okay, everybody got that? But if you get the question right, as I stated before, it's an opportunity to catch the football. Now, if I throw it and you drop it, you sit your butt back down and you owe $100 to the charity. So don't get it wrong. And to be honest with you, I still have a pretty good arm. Hold on a second. We got to get these balls, they're too inflated. My balls were always a lot harder than these. Excuse me, my footballs were a lot harder than these. Okay, the first question is, now listen, everybody knows that the class of 1983 is the greatest quarterback class of all time. 6 of us taken in the first round. Name the first one, the second quarterback taken, and then the last quarterback taken, the 6th quarterback. So 1, 2, and 6, name them. First, second, and 6th. Boy, y'all are cheap, because I know you guys are throwing out $100. First, second, and 6th. Do I see a hand somewhere? Yes. Stand up, because if you get it wrong, man. First quarterback taken. Second, easy. First one. Second. And the last. You got it. Come on over here. Usually, I think this is the first time somebody got it right the first time. Usually they say, Elway, me, Marino, because they always think that since I'm up here speaking, I'm going to put my name in it, but I didn't. But that's pretty good. I'm proud to back it up. Jog it up, come on. Congratulations, good job. Okay.
I looked like some of our receivers last year.
Okay, everybody, I talked about the quarterbacks. And I know somebody's going to know this answer, so I'm going to look real quick. Who was my USFL head coach? Right here. Yep, Jack Pardee. Stand up. Oh, this one is good here. Look, squeeze. No lawsuits here, guys. Oh! Heads up. So y'all know him, right? You know people at your table, because I don't trust you. See, man, Brady's guys caught that pretty good. Hey, $100. Okay, next question. Okay, the Buffalo Bills, when I played, we had 4 Hall of Famers that are in the Pro Football Hall of Fame now that played. Name them. Yes. Bruce Smith, Thurman Thomas, Andre Reed, myself. Okay, and the next question is, I'm putting you on the spot. What's the other one to make it 5? Who? No, the players. 1. Who? Ken Hall? He's not in the Hall of Fame. Sit down. $100. Go ahead, name 5 of them. Now you know it's 5. Oh, slow down. Very good. James Lofton was the other one. Keep moving, squaring. Oh! You're lucky I took it easy on you. Those are Buffalo Bill footballs. Now we got Hall of Fame footballs.
Hey, Jim.
Sir.
How about a handshake?
No, I don't think so. Hey. Thanks, sir. I like it. Go Bills. Okay, this is a little tougher now. We have 2 more questions. I'm from Western Pennsylvania. There are 6 quarterbacks in the Pro Football Hall of Fame from Western Pennsylvania. Name 5 of them. Stand up. Shh. Me, Joe Namath, Dan Marino, Joe Montana, Johnny Unitas, and 1 for bonus. Who's the last one? I'm still going to give you George Blanda. Come on over. Uh-oh, he looks like an offensive lineman. You want to snap me the football? Come on, square. Legion perfect. There you go. The last football. Ladies. Is there a lady out there whose birthday is on Valentine's Day? Okay, we're not done yet. Is there a lady out there whose birthday is in February? There's 1. Do we have any more? If you're, okay, 2. Okay, when's your birthday? 22nd? Say, ma'am? February 12th. Come on up here, ma'am. You're a winner. February 12th, sorry. Oh, let's see if she can catch. Sorry, guys, I hand it off and I get a hug.
My grandfather's birthday was the 14th. God bless you.
Thank you. I want to end on just a thank you so much. It's been a blast. Thank you very much. Great job. I want to thank the Quarterback Club and the Touchdown Club and everybody here in Charlotte that has made a difference in my stay here. Cam Newton is a heck of a quarterback. Good luck there. I think that he can lead you somewhere, and hopefully against the Buffalo Bills, since we're in 2 different divisions. But no, I want to thank you very much. And when I spoke earlier about make a difference today for someone who's fighting for tomorrow, take that to heart, because it really means so much to the individual that is having a tough day. And I know how much it's meant to me. I know how much in my heart I need it at times. I need that little pat on the back, that little inspirational talk, and that smile. So again, Mark Richt, thank you very much. I don't even know Mark's sitting, I know he's there, but thank you. There you go. Thank you very much, bud, and best of luck to the Georgia Bulldogs. And again, it's been a great day. Lastly, I want to thank the good Lord for allowing me to be here so I can talk to you today. So thank you, and God bless.